Are you ready for some new beginnings? Because we're about to move into Aries energies. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome to those of you that are new to my YouTube videos, and welcome back to those of you who are subscribed. And for those of you that are new, please don't forget to click on that thumbs up button and subscribe. Leave comments, and I love answering. I love seeing them, and I love answering them. Okay, so from here, I really need to do a little bit of maintenance kind of thing, literally, to let everyone know that if you need, you have questions, you need a free birth chart, you want to schedule any consultations, the website is going to be down for a little bit. Hopefully, it's just a week, but the website is going to be down for some maintenance. There's some glitches going on that we need to figure out. So I would assume, knowing the astrology here, that basically the longest it would be down is a couple of weeks. And I thoroughly, absolutely am going to push to try to get us back up no later than the eclipse at the end of the month on March 29th in Aries. Okay, so from there, let's see what else I need to say. Oh, so my email, sorry about that. My email is catherineastrology@gmail. So you can contact me if you have questions or any of the above kinds of concerns or communications that you need to hear from me while this website is offline. Okay, so we've had some really exciting energies with the Venus retrograde on the 1st and the eclipse that I'm recording this on Monday the 10th of March. We have the eclipse coming up this weekend, and I am already feeling it. And right after the eclipse on the 13th, 14th, depending on where you live in the world, there's going to be Mercury going retrograde in Aries. And so Mercury and Venus going retrograde, Venus absolutely can trigger, irregularities or instability in the stock market, ups and downs. And, certainly Trump's doing his part to create that whiplash up and down kind of thing with the tariffs that he's putting on the different countries, or threatening them, and then on the day of the deadline canceling them, and so it's really creating a lot of instability. So and then adding Mercury going retrograde the day after the eclipse is very telling for me in regard to this eclipse, the Ides of March, and this eclipse is absolutely about exposure, sharing the details with the moon in Virgo. And Virgo energy is very detail-oriented, just as Mercury is stationing. And these two energies are very much about exposing secrets. Eclipses are about exposing secrets. They're the end of 19-year life cycles and the launching of a new 19-year cycle. But the sun in Pisces is shining light on the moon. The moon in Virgo is very activated and will be exposing the secrets, because kind of the dark side of Pisces energy is lies, manipulation, secrets, behind the scenes activity, secret collaborations. And, Virgo moon says, no, we're here now today on the 13th, 14th of March to say we've done the behind the scenes research and here are the results. So I think there's going to be not just one secret, because, we're not being afforded the convenience or the respite of just having one dastardly secret exposed. We're going to have a plethora of secrets and manipulation, behind the scenes manipulations, and those kinds of things exposed. And many of us have intuitively felt these things were going on and had some clues and dreams and visions, particularly dreaming women and dreaming men. It's not just a gender thing. So my last video was saying call to action. We don't have a lot of time. We need to wake up. We've got to get out there. We've got to be pushing back. We've got to be calling senators and representatives. We've got to be doing all of this stuff and letting them know the truth, the details of how these policies and what they're doing in Washington are hurting the people. The people have a great many needs, and the greatest needs is for light of day being shown on what's going on, and justice, the truth and justice. And so Mercury retrograde is going to come in the day after this eclipse. And I would say this whole week, eclipses are 19 years, ending of 19-year cycles and the launching of new 19-year cycles. You may hear me say that a number of times, and it's purposeful. So once we, get into these energies, it's really about exposing the details of what's been going on. Secret agreements, secret monies changing hands between oligarchs and our enemies, dictators of many countries, and going into someone's pockets, not into the treasury. I mean, this is information only, but we have a criminal president. That's the truth. He's been convicted of 32 felonies. And so, and why would he stop criming? He's been given total immunity for anything he does during his presidency. And the presidency protects him from being held accountable for his past crimes. And so far we've watched all of these charges kind of disappear into thin air. So the people are starting to feel the effects of what's going on. And as things are exposed, then we're going to Mercury immediately retrograde. So for 3 weeks, there's going to be a 3-week time of Mercury, which is our communication, our thoughts, people working behind the scenes about what do we do from here out. Because he's in Aries. Venus is also being impacted with, like I said, the roller coaster up and down stuff, just related to the tariffs, but also to what they're doing in regards to monies. The full faith and credit of the United States government is at risk, and we will more than likely be downgraded over the next couple of months. The other thing that's going to be very powerful this week that's coming up is Congress is supposed to complete that budget that gives $4 trillion in new tax cuts to corporations and the rich guys. And it cuts most of the social programs. It cuts $800 billion from Medicaid. And they're saying Medicaid because they don't want to say it's your health care. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on. And much of it in the future will be repaired and replaced, but we're not going to talk about that right now. So when Mercury goes retrograde, there's going to be a lot of communications, again, behind the scenes because of the new information that's been exposed. I do expect this week, because I've seen it online on YouTube as well, that there are 2 different major groups of election analysis that are going to be coming out that show there was manipulation of the votes in our election, and that this is an illegitimate president. But, that's, we will see if they go that far. What is more likely is they will put everything on hold and consciously begin more election counting or recounting, and eventually put in an interim government until that can be satisfactorily completed. Probably ask for international help with that as well. Okay. So, like I said, a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. And, so that's the shock of this week. And it's hard for me to do an assessment of next week. But I really want to emphasize that. I mean, we all know what's at stake at this point. The good news, as we move into the spring equinox, and I look at this chart and it's like, oh, we still have a few of the crisis things, but oh my goodness, there is so much good news going to come in. The first thing is that I would say we're moving into Aries energy. It is the new year coming in. And as we move into Aries energy, this energy is absolutely about the new. It's like people are awake. The people are awake. And I'm not saying just, certain segments of the population. This is affecting everyone. The consequences of the policies that are being put into place are hurting, all. And particularly they're hurting the red states, the poor states, the MAGAs who believed what he told them. And, it's like, and they're going, no, why are you doing this to us? It's like, this is supposed to only happen to those other people that we don't like. So there's a lot of shock that's happening across the country. But what's coming in is going to be very powerful. The moon is conjunct Juno, and Juno is the feminine quality, the asteroid that represents the feminine commitment aspects, marriage commitments to our families and children, and in relationships, commitments to our responsibilities. And this is also in the sign of Sagittarius. So let's add commitments to law and to the truth. And the moon represents the people in this chart, women and families and children. And, so to the commitment to Sagittarius energy, that is the big issue in the country at this time. And it's not just, I want to interject this one thought as I've listened to many other YouTube providers that are covering political things around the world. It's become very clear to me that they absolutely separate our government at this time from the American people. And they do not blame. They are sending so much light and love and support to the American people to wake up, to stand up, to be strong, to come together in masses and to push back against this. And it's going to be incredibly effective. Juno, which is not just commitment, she's also the betrayed feminine, the abused feminine. So the abuses of women and their commitments, by toxic masculine energy is what I would say. So these two energies traveling together in the 10th house of this chart are actually in what we would call trine energies and the trine is the gift to the sun, Venus, which is love and money, and Mercury, which is communication, all in Aries at the 0 degree of Aries, the world axis. So this is the time of women's issues, of betrayal, using the legal system to manipulate and to control and to abuse people, which is going on right now in our country as well, to use the legal system to do those kinds of things. This is a time of new beginnings in values. Americans are waking up. And it's like they're going, wait a minute, because all of these energies, Saturn, the North Node, Neptune, Sun, Venus, Mercury, and Chiron, are all in the second. And I've set this chart for the West Coast. So they're all in the second house of the people's money. So there will be a healing. The final planet or asteroid in this whole grouping of planets happens to be Chiron. And Neptune in the last degree and half minute of Pisces conjuncts the sun in Aries. Whatever the losses are, these are indications that this is the time in history. This is the time and moment of embracing. We have to embrace the new. The world has to embrace the new, that every human on the planet has to fight for what is, and I don't even want to say fight, stand up for, because this is a non-violent revolution. The revolution is here. It is a non-violent revolution because there aren't that many of them in this particular, and the same thing with the dictators in other countries. Those dictators are extremely fearful and paranoid and insecure because they have hurt the people so much. So the greatest terror they have is the people pushing back and revolting. So here we are in the United States. It's our turn again. We're a new country. This is our dark night of the soul. It is our country that is to some degree, I don't know if I want to go that far. I was going to say, to some degree, has precipitated this particular thing with all of our wealth and oligarchs. But, I would just say that the Chiron at the end of this is the wounded healer, and his energies are saying it is time for new ways of doing money, where and we're going to see that it is really about individual, but it is about new beginnings. And I truly believe that, when this regime is removed, an interim group of leaders in our country are going to be the interim until they can get all the facts and bring all of the truth, the research from independent, and probably we'll have to have, and I don't know this for sure, but we'll probably have to have international support in, doing this research. So it'll be more independent of any American politicians. It won't be the Democratic Party that does this. But as we go through that transition period, until we can have all the facts, there will be an interim group of leaders that have either retired leaders, past presidents, a collective of people that will hold the fort, and keep the government running. Most of the damage that's been done can be reversed, but we are a new people. And we will never, again, I don't believe, now again, my opinion, YouTube, these are all my opinions, astrology and my perspective, my understanding of the astrological energies I'm viewing. Entertainment only. I do not believe that we will have this huge, strong central government past this time period, because it really doesn't reflect Pluto and Aquarius and moving into this new age. What will evolve from this is, as we are now, and over the next 2 to 3 months, 4 months, all the way through the summer, I think, as we are organizing locally, that this is going to be the shift from the power to this, few people, elected officials, central government, to local power, local community, and local decisions. So we will do what we need to do, and if our sister cities, and areas are in need, then, all of the individual communities can have a voice in how do we solve these problems. But we're talking about, and I don't believe this is Pollyannish because I've mentioned it before, that an example of consensus building, where everyone gets a vote, where everyone has a say. And you really do have, I mean, democracy is hard, but it is truly the only thing that works when you talk about organizing a people or groups of people, is that as we shift to more local power of the people, by the people, for the people, we have more control. We have more ability to yeah, we don't have to send all our resources to this big central government where all this stuff can go on behind the scenes. So I do think there's going to be a transition, and maybe Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are finish up their term, step into power, and she would be. I had a friend say, "Oh well, you know, she's just totally unqualified and what have you," and I'm going, as though Trump is. It's my God. She is very qualified and actually could be absolutely the right person to lead this transformation for the federal government, to right the ship, because she is a compassionate human being. So, and not qualified? Oh my God. She was Attorney General of California, you know, which is a little nation, and not a little nation compared to other nations in the world. So, but she can't be complicit with supporting corporations and the wealthy. So, you know, it's like, who are you really? Is, you know, because basically she said her policies would be the same as Biden. And there were a lot of Biden policies that were not okay and cost the Democratic Party a lot of votes. So we'll see about how this transition works. The one thing I know about these energies is they are not predictable. We can't predict the time. We can't predict exactly what's going to happen. We can see and understand, or try to understand and project from the energies that we're seeing here. So back to the spring equinox, which is March 20th. And these energies are absolutely about behind the scenes transformation, behind the scenes power, coming up with new strategies on how we're going to meet the needs of all the people and the environment and all of this stuff. We all are very, very painfully aware of the losses, but, you know, also that this government has not worked for the people for the last 84 years. We're at a revolutionary time of pushing back against oligarchs again. So how do we make sure that never happens again? And I do think part of that is that the power comes back to the people. We become much more active locally. We make decisions. We have our own little industries. And we support each other. And it may be a barter system, depending on what happens to the dollar. It could be that we move into a totally different lifestyle. Certainly one that would be universal income. Everyone, all boats are lifted. These are visions that I know many of my viewers have held for, you know, I'm 72. Most of us have held this since the 60s. We were part of the 60s. We were in high school, in junior high, in college in the 60s. So the latter part of the boomers are people that came here. We've kind of been the rebels with a cause. We've been the alternative healers. We've been the spiritual healers and spiritual warriors and light workers. And there are others in every generation that came in to be light workers. So there are more light workers on the planet than ever before in our history. There are more astrologers on the planet than ever before in history. And so it's like energetically, we are here to help anyone that is energetically aligned with us, and help with here's some things that are coming up, but here's what bigger picture is. And that bigger picture is that we are in the transition. And again, I'm going to repeat, humanity is awake and aware now. And so let's find each other. Let's really look at what's going on here. What are still some of the challenges? So I wanted to cover this energy of Uranus is still in Taurus, conjunct the part of fortune, and also conjunct Sedna. And Sedna is the feminine asteroid. She's very Saturn-like. She again supports the underdogs, but she also is about, we have to restructure. How do we restructure? So fairness, there's fairness for everyone. And that includes, the extreme, right now we're in extreme energies. It's like extreme, fascism, extreme racism, white supremacy, extreme misogyny, hatred of women, hatred of mothers, abuse of women and children. So we are in like the end times of the Piscean age, the end times of the patriarchy, and the end times of these governments that are power over as opposed to empowerment and lifting all boats. So, like I said, if our government survives, the next 6 months, we'll see. There can be things that will be repaired and fixed. When I look at, I just want to mention this too, and I know I'm bouncing away from this particular chart, but when I look at these energies and I look at March and April, I really see them as the two of the most intense months of the year. Things will start to improve a little, but we still have some very powerful and sometimes violent energies. I don't see a physical war descending on the United States. I don't see our troops having to be deployed. I do see the possibility of individual lone wolf acts of violence and sabotage happening. But then we've got a president who opened up our cybersecurity so that Russia can come in and manipulate and I would say even shut down our own infrastructure. So, as he's done this, that leaves us very vulnerable. So their idea, their plan is to create a great deal of chaos, to create a great deal of fear in order to immobilize us. And when populations are in fear and immobilized, then they get to do whatever they want. So I don't see that happening. Every chart I look at for May, June, July, and through the rest of the year, there's a lot more joy. There's a lot more relief and grace and ease. So I think we're, if we can stay focused and stay involved in our local activities, our local protest, do our part to contact these guys every day, everyone in the government that we have any affiliation with, and even those that we don't, and say, this needs to end. This is not okay. This is illegal. This is hurting and going to kill lots of people. Not okay. We are taking the power back. And this is the awakening of the sleeping giant globally. So we have a lot of support. We have our guardian angel support. We have our ancestors supporting us. We have every awake and aware being on the planet who sees that it is not the American people, but our government that is gone off the rails and doing this. So much love and empathy is coming our direction. And that's where Uranus in Taurus conjunct the part of fortune, the joy, humanity, the rest globally, all people are rooting for us, the people. And that can bring us great joy in this dark time. That is giving them great joy to send love and support to us. So, take it in. Allow yourself to breathe it in. Take it in. Take it into your heart. And then let's get busy. So, trust your intuition. Know that we can go online and find out, all kinds of people and places that we can join locally and nationally. If you have funds, support our, local Democrats, support the local as well as support our Democrats in the House and Senate, particularly the ones, Bernie Sanders isn't a Democrat. He's a Democratic socialist. And I think that's where my inclination is to, and what we need to be doing and how we need to be helping everyone. And democratic socialism is not a dirty word when it's prefaced by democratic socialism. So please support Bernie in being able to travel the country, to go to the red states, to share with them his vision of our future, of humanity, and to educate people about the truth, because that's what he and AOC and a number, there are a number of superstars out there, and some new ones, some new young ones. So we need to support them. If we have the funding to do that, please do that. Okay. So back to this particular chart. Mars is absolutely really, chomping at the bit. He's, in the sign of Cancer. He's trining Saturn and the North Node right now, and a very wide trine to Neptune and Aries, but he's trining. So Mars in Cancer, with his many months of retrograde energy, he went direct on February 23rd, and he is now going to be with this spring equinox, March 20th. He is going to be pressuring or working with the leadership that is really confused and being manipulative or deceptive. So Mars in Cancer in all of us, it's our male energy. It's our energy of, he's had to integrate compassion and sensitivity and providing it with his energy, providing for the needs of women and children and families, security, financial security, food security, all of those things. He has had this retrograde period where he has to integrate that. And now he trines Saturn in the North Node. It is time for the male, that more sensitive, balanced, healthy male energy to pressure, it's actually not even pressure, but to guide the leadership in our country that may be a little, too far distant from their local people, to do the right thing by showing and expressing the needs of the people and how these policies, these actions are dishonest, they're abusive, the leadership is not caring for the needs of the people. And that is what this time is about. With the North Node in Pisces, we are to lift all boats. It isn't about, we had 18 months of the North Node in Aries, and Aries energy can be that me, 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 me. It's all about me. In order to trigger our own individual identity in each of us, we need to step into the truth of who we really are, not who family of origin or society or our marriages or our long lives and disappointments and disillusionments. Who are we now individually? And to step into that power and truth. Okay. Alrighty. So, and then from there, there's also the supportive energy of the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and Chiron in Aries. So a lot of support for communications about the needs, and then shifting into policies and practices from a local level to the national level to meet the needs of the people. Okay. And following our joy, being willing to ask and be quiet and allow, or ask before you go to bed in dream time, your guides and guardian angels, what is my unique piece to plug into what's going on? And Yeah, and bless, I think I've said this before, but bless the souls that are out there fighting through the legal system for, the abuses that are going on right now. And I do think there's some changes that have happened and will be happening even more so with our Supreme Court. As I think the reality of decisions that this particular Roberts Court has made, the manifestation of those decisions is really blaringly out there. And I don't know if that's exactly what they wanted. I think it is, but they're realizing, oh no, this is not going to go well. This is not good. So I think there may be some shifts that will be more aligned with how to stop this and how to support truth, justice, the people, etc. Alrighty, so I'm going to leave it there. I will be doing another video in a week because I didn't, in my March overview, I put a lot of time into this particular eclipse coming up on the 14th, not so much in the Aries eclipse on the 29th, but that's gonna be heralded in the new, because the sun and moon are at 9 degrees of Aries. And so it's time for the new. The people are going to demand the new. And that is the launching. With a new moon, it's the launching of a new 19-year cycle. And that's going to be, both of these eclipses we're going to feel for the rest of the year. I know 6 months is normally when they give, from, and we've got we've got a similar set of eclipses coming up in September. So these energies, are just not going to slow down until we move into 2026. And by January 2026, 5 major planets will have changed signs. So 2026 is going to be off the charts related to who are we now? What's going on in the world? There is no way to predict. Absolutely no way to predict. Take care of yourselves, breathe. Remember to do some fun things for yourself. Get out in community. Find your friends and your family and talk about, what can we do? If we could create anything we want, what can we do? And put that out there. Okay, love you all. We'll talk to you soon.